When we meet the world with expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment. What's the saying? Keep your standards high, but your expectations low. It's okay to have certain standards in place. But when you have your expectations really high, often what happens in the moment doesn't quite follow what you expect. And I'm sure at some point it'll come to me how that links up into psychic work, where sometimes you get a feeling that you can't quite know the details of or decipher completely. And I think as somebody who gets those types of senses, but also has fairly unrealistic high expectations, I am getting better at not meeting every moment with those, but I do set myself up for strife by having expectations on things instead of meeting them in the moment as they are. So again, it's a reminder to be as you are. And loving yourself as you are. Just yesterday I cried, and it wasn't like the crying during a sad movie or something. It was the crying of exasperation with the work life I have and some of the decisions I make. Having to choose who to help and who not to help. I really do not like being in that position. I want to help everyone. And having that expectation that of course I'm going to be able to be powerful enough to do that in some areas of my life. It's a reminder I can't expect to be able to do it in all areas. However, I do feel that expectation is still valid because it is a guiding force to, it's like knowing that at some point I will be able to, if that makes sense. That, like, having those high expectations, it's kind of like seeing into the future and knowing that at some point, like, those feelings are going to drive you to a certain point. However, it's equally important to be present in the moment and meet yourself and other things as they are. You are a sovereign being But even within yourself, there are many different energies. There are the needs of the body, there are the needs of the spirit, there are the needs of the mind. And other things too. It's not limited to those things. And I believe that when those things are working themselves out in their own ecosystem, when it's like it's as if you're you the energy, the body, and the spirit of you is its own ecosystem, is its own microclimate, working out the balances between everything. And maybe you are a garden, maybe that's your microclimate, or maybe you are the moss and wildflowers on top of a mountain, clinging to the rocks of the mountain and the lichen. And maybe you're the microclimate of flora and fauna by the beach, by the ocean. So whatever you imagine, whatever space, imagery, or feeling that comes through to you as you feel into your own microclimate, just go with that. Knowing that those energies are going to balance themselves out, just letting everything be as it is. Not trying to label anything in particular or hold on to it and put it under a microscope and analyze it to death the way that I seem to enjoy driving myself crazy doing those things. Over-evaluating, and I mean, yeah. There's a time and a place for evaluating things. But I often have to remind myself to think with my heart. Because time and time again, if I followed that intuition that was pinging at me, that would have been the best decision. And I'm not saying that to try to be woo-woo or anything like that. I'm actually kind of annoyed that that's the case. But it is true. It is very true. I've tested and tested and tested, and so now I have learned that, okay, unless I'm in a place where my heart is clear, maybe my brain is sizzling trying to work something out. But if my heart is clear, then I actually know what to do. I know what direction to take, or, what general direction to take. It's like orienteering in this microclimate of yourself. And perhaps at some point you can expand your microclimate to those around you and explore around in those spaces, getting to know your landscape better, see the variation, the diversity, the different ways that things can balance out, knowing that what you call you, what I call I, is ever changing and flowing with the different seasons, whatever allegory you want to put on the seasons of your life. And just witnessing. It just came to me that expectation is a form of judgment, isn't it? It's like a future judgment. So I wonder, what if we ask about standards, our standards? Where do they take place? Does nature have its own standards? Probably. It needs to meet certain qualifications of structure and drive. What is the biological or chemical version of drive? Inner will. That inner will being the spirit of everything, and that spirit of everything perhaps that has the standard of meeting certain criteria of form in order to find freedom and exploration within the form. And perhaps we can meet ourselves that way, whatever we're feeling in a moment, or during a certain time in our life, a certain chapter, a certain season. Letting it be what it is. Oh, okay. My skin tingled a lot just then. Letting it be what it is. It also occurred to me yesterday or the day before that this time in my life, as I'm experiencing it in the now, is like the recycling process. We're seeing what's useful, what's not. We're seeing what we want to keep, what we want to put outside our energy, what we want to reimagine. And that's something I'm very much for, but living it in the body is, not comfortable. We're not programmed to love change. I don't want to say programmed. I want to say, because we're definitely programmed to change. But there's a part of us that feels safe when we are comfortable. And some change is not comfortable. Even changing your metabolic baseline is not comfortable. Changing your habits are not usually comfortable. And I'm trying right now in my life to find comfort in different ways. Like, I know the things that I love to do, but at the same time, they're not comfortable because I think it's because it's hard to do certain things when I feel other people are watching me, I think, is one thing. And it's not as if they're standing over my shoulder or anything, but they're in the same room often, or we've got an open floor plan, so, they can be in a different room, but it still feels like they're there. And because I don't know where I'm going with something and can't explain it to other people, I'm realizing this is probably my own judgment, but it's like, okay, what place does this have in my life? Why am I experiencing this drive? And maybe what we can learn from nature, from anything that grows, is sometimes it grows just because it's exploring. I have these succulents, for example, and this one particular, there are actually many succulents diving out of the pot, and they don't know whether they're diving into the concrete patio or into another pot where there might be some dirt. They also don't particularly know that there is this humanoid, myself, who's going to put a pot underneath them once they reach that level. They just do it. And without trying to take anyone's slogan, sometimes we just have to do the things that we're driven to do, regardless of the watching. And maybe this is a reminder to myself that the watching I feel may not necessarily be the watching of my family. It may be the eyes of spirits around me, seeing if I'm doing the work that I'm called to do. And that's not to say that they're expecting it. They're just watching. They're witnessing. The way that we witness nature do its thing. Interesting. That does help me, and I hope it helps you as well. So if you imagine yourself being surrounded by many beautiful, curious faces, the eyes watching you, witnessing you, from within and without, whatever that means to you. As these energetic wheels of ourself spin with each other and around each other, figuring out their balance. Be in this space and witness yourself. Witness the senses and the feelings that you have. Witness the emotions. Maybe it helps to imagine it as weather or water, or perhaps your emotions are more like the soil slowly turning itself into more growing space. I don't know, whatever it is that comes to you. And breathe, knowing your breath is welcoming in and flowing through all of these energies around you. And maybe you feel your skin charged, tingling, opening up. The hairs on your skin like antennae. Maybe you're outside and the wind is blowing. And you can feel that the space around you is touched by the wind, but also there's this, like a little blanket around you. Sit here and witness your body, this vessel, your support system. Adjust yourself to make your body comfortable. And witness the nature around you. How the earth does not exactly stand still. For example, if you stare at a portion of grass long enough, perhaps you can sense the blades of grass maybe not sense, maybe you just know that they are breathing in their own way. You just know that they are. And you can imagine the earth breathing. Be as you are and be breathed. Be as you are and be supported. Ooh, be as you are and be charged. Be as you are and be nourished. Thank you. Thank you for where we are now. In a timeless space, but also a space in time where we are ahead of our past and we are that portion of our past that the future self wanted to revisit, to reimagine the space from here into the future of itself. May we know that we can ask, which way? guide us. Open our eyes to the opportunities, open our minds to the possibilities, open our hearts to the possibilities and to compassion, and may we know the power of our words. As we speak, may we feel into what Spirit is saying yes to. The response as we speak into the air around us, may we feel that response. And may we know the power of our actions. Thank you for the lessons we have learned thus far. Thank you for the more beautiful, more gentle lessons that we will respond to, that we will act on, knowing the clues and the messages along the way, knowing what they are when they speak to us gently, and responding gently in turn so that things start opening to receive the messages and clues, the guidance, the pull, the drive. And yes, I do mean opening to our own inner drive, because as we open outward, let us also open inward, connecting everything, being that channel that goes in all directions, neither up or down, nor one way or another way, but all imaginable directions with all perspectives. And as we may know more, may the pathway also be made clear. The possibilities and potentials could be overwhelming, but we ask that also that they are evidence, and in knowing we know the direction that we can take and the beautiful possibilities in that direction. May we take the wisdom of our lessons with us and explore are there different words for faith and trust that explore what those words actually mean? Into the directions we are guided into, and peace, prosperity, security, stability, exploration, adventure, reimagination, innovation, connection, and collaboration for all, for all, for all. May we imagine more beautifully, respond more beautifully, be ourselves more beautifully, and meet others more beautifully. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And may we go about our day feeling the charge that we feel now, knowing that in every moment or at each moment, each breath is like a new day.
If I had remained invisible, the truth was daily. How could I